Welcome back, friends. You're just in time for the Johnny Brew Show.
What's going on, everybody? My name is John Brookhagen, host of the Johnny Brew Show, and thanks for joining us again as we continue the soap opera regarding Clark County and Clark County Republicans. There has been another decision made by a Judge Gonzalez, and in order for us to give you the everyday person's point of view, which is what you guys are. I know that this isn't the number one podcast for Jesse Law and Steven Silberkraus, all right? But I know there's a lot of people, a lot of my listeners are trying to get more involved, whether it's attending school board meetings, whether it's speaking at those meetings, or going to rallies to protest the Cubans getting their freedom back, or protesting what's going on in Afghanistan, or of course, protesting mandatory vaccinations, yada, yada, yada. We are all on the same page. We are conservatives. We are small government at home, America first abroad, and a love for our founding documents. Yet, it seems to be going on forever, or at least for the past year. The other people have been telling me this has been going on for 12 years, the infighting with the Clark County Republican Party. Now, as you all know, we were supposed to have a meeting back in July. That was canceled due to threats or whatnot, as well as COVID restrictions. Then we were supposed to have another meeting in July and a vote. We ended up having half of a meeting, and then it was stopped. And then, like, a faction of Republicans continued the meeting, and they voted in a new board. And then there was a whole bunch of stays by the court. The old guard of the CCRP was unable to have their continuation meeting while the judge made a decision. The judge finally has made a decision, and apparently this Judge Gonzalez has done it in approval of the old guard and saying that the Jesse Law camp was unlawful in holding that continuation of the meeting. So I've got another thing you guys have been doing besides going to meetings, besides speaking your mind, besides going to protests. You've been liking and subscribing and sharing the Johnny Brew Show. So please make sure you continue to do that. I'm still noticing 2/3 of the people who are watching are not subscribing. I need your help. Please subscribe, and you can always reach out to us at the Johnny Brew Show at gmail.com. So people like Silberkraus, Ed Gonzalez, Jesse Law, Carrie Ann Buck, everybody's trying to stay mum and not talk about it because there's pending litigation. I've got a couple of off-the-record anonymous quotes from people in positions to know what is going on. And in their absence, I've got two regular Clark County Republicans. One person is a great patriot, and she is with the old guard, and she's going to tell us why. We've also got a new grassroots patriot who hasn't been so involved previously in his life, but in seeing the mayhem caused by the Democratic Party, he wants to get more involved. So we'll hear from both of them and why they support this particular faction that they do. But let's start out by reading the email that was sent out by the quote-unquote old guard of the CCRP. Dear Clark County Republican Central Committee member, first and foremost, thank you for your support and the understanding over these last several weeks while the executive board of the Clark County Republican Party has been fighting to protect your right to elect your leadership. As you are most likely aware, we have been tending to matters in court, as well as making arrangements for our next CCRP membership meeting. To that end, the CCRP Executive Board filed suit on your behalf against the insurgent faction who was disrupting our meeting on July 20th, then conducted an unauthorized and fraudulent meeting in our name on July 28th. After a change of venue and after issuing a preemptory challenge of the assigned judge, the defendants, the grassroots guys, no longer stall the inevitable. At a hearing this morning, Clark County Judge Elizabeth Gonzalez declared that the rogue group's sham meeting and election were not proper, and therefore Judge Gonzalez issued a court order invalidating both. Furthermore, Judge Gonzalez ruled that the Nevada Republican Party has no say in how the CCRP operates. It has been our rightful contention, despite desperate attempts on the part of others to message otherwise, that the Nevada State Republican Party is compromised of representation from every county Republican Party commensurate with the number of Republicans in each county. This means that elections of the Board of Nevada Republican Central Committee, as well as decisions made by the NRCC, are informed by the will of the counties and not the other way around. This crucial fact will likely be tested in coming weeks, but in the meantime, we need to move forward. With this issue now resolved finally and conclusively, it is time to proceed with the regular business of the CCRP, including our membership meeting and our elections. Therefore, the next regular membership meeting of the CCRP will be held on September 21st, with more details and information to follow in the coming days. We will also be hosting several additional events in the next few weeks. More information will be released about those events soon. Thank you for your continued support during this challenging time as we put this difficulty behind us. We look forward to a bright future for the Clark County Republican Party, for you, our candidates, our county, and for the great state of Nevada. Best regards, former Assemblyman Stephen H. Silberkraus, acting chairman of the Clark County Republican Party, and if I'm not mistaken, a former producer of the PAA podcast. So, joining me now, we're going to have Tawana Kreb. Tawana Kreb is somebody who has been, who previously did have a position with the CCRP, and now she's currently, for lack of a better term, just a patriot or a cheerleader or in team Old Guard CCRP. So welcome, Tawana. Are you with us?
Yes, John, I sure am.
Hey, Tawana, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good,
and thank you
good.
so much for asking me to come on.
Oh, well, I really appreciate you coming on. I know this is a dicey situation, and a lot of people who have got their fingers in the middle of it need to watch what they do and say regarding, regarding the litigation that's going on in court. But I just want to ask you a couple of general questions. Most specifically, what is it that makes you believe that this is the right decision by this judge? Why do you believe that the people that you used to work with the CCRP are the best people to fulfill this role? And how do we move forward? Because there's a lot of people that are stuck in the middle of this that really don't know about the drama, whether you're talking about Rand Paul 12 years ago, or you're talking about the Never Trumpers for 4 years ago, or you're talking about just what's been going on in the past year. There's a new enthusiasm in the Republican Party, especially here in Las Vegas. What do we do and say for these people? And, explain to them why they should believe that this ruling is the right one and they should be excited to attend this next meeting.
Well, there's a couple of things that you just mentioned. First of all, District Court Betsy Gonzalez is one of the better district court judges that we have, and we are really fortunate to have her. I'm not saying that because of what her ruling was. I'm saying that because she reads her case. She is very thorough, she's extremely smart, and she's very well respected among attorneys, her peers. I think the world of Betsy. I've known Judge Gonzalez for quite some time.
All right, and that's great. And obviously, we want constitutionalists. We're not looking to subvert any laws, whether it's politically expedient or not. We really, really, really want people to just read the letter of the law, whether you're talking about federally regarding COVID mandates or you're talking about locally in the CCRP election. And I've heard respected people say the opposite. But obviously the judge is the person in charge of this particular case. She made her ruling. I want to talk to you more about the people such as Silber Kraus, Ed Gonzalez, Richard McLean, and, the rest of the executive board, as well as, I guess, they're not really part of the same group, but they're supporting each other, such as Byron Brooks and Carrie Ann Buck. Why are these the right people to lead us forward in this very, very important election year? And how are they going to be able to mend fences with not necessarily Jesse Law, but the people who voted for Jesse Law or believed in Jesse Law?
Well, let's go. I think, again, we're all Americans that happen to live in Nevada, so therefore we're Nevadans that happen to be Republicans. And the situation is we're really fortunate to have some really strong individuals that want to push Republicans forward. We just haven't come together like we really should. I don't necessarily... Let me go back. In 2016, when you said that I held a thing, I was the former political director of the Republican Party, which means of Clark County Republican Party.
The same position Richard McLean now holds.
That is correct.
All right.
I met Richard in 2019. All right. I asked him to help me out on a particular project, and he really did. He did an outstanding job. And other than that, I've always known Richard. The night that I first met him, we had dinner. That was it, because I needed his help when I was doing the Candace Owen event. And he was very thorough and helped me get the video and things like that. So I don't know Richard like a lot of people may think that I do. And that is the problem. Sometimes we make assumptions that are not accurate. A person can get their picture taken with somebody or stand next to somebody in a CCRP meeting. They think, oh, look at that.
Of course. That happened to me. I took a picture with Mike McDonald and a bunch of, I don't want to say you guys, but, a lot of people who were with the old guard, the CCRP, took offense to me taking a picture with Mike McDonald. And I was even greener than I am now. I just thought, hey, this is pretty cool. This is the head of the NVGOP, and I'm introducing him at an event. And like you said, I took a picture with them, and then people are talking to me about I'm a Proud Boy or something like that.
Right. Well, again, if you go back to the CCRP, Clark County Republican Party, and you look at the NVGOP, which is the state party, the state has their responsibility and the county has theirs. Clark County is the largest county, as we know, among the 17 counties in Nevada.
Of course.
It is important that we come together, considering the fact that we have more Democrats in this county. Also, this county happens to be the majority of people that we vote to get into legislation up there that serves us in Carson City.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 2/3, right?
Correct. When we have this particular conflict amongst ourselves, it's just not something that makes us look like we're going to be a success. And
I'm just saying, only because we're running out of time, we only got like 3 more minutes. Okay. And everything you've been saying is absolutely true, but it's the same thing. You're not differentiating what does, say, Carrie Ann Buck and Byron Brooks, or Ed Silber Kraus and Ed Gonzalez, Steve Silber Kraus and Ed Gonzalez. Okay. What do they bring to the table, or why should the person who doesn't understand the ins and outs of this conflict, why should they believe in this faction as opposed to, say, Jesse Law and his faction?
Well, again, the election is going to be on September 21st, because on July 20th, when they put the meeting into recess, and there was a reason it went into recess because of, and let's be realistic, there was confusion outside just like there was confusion inside. And when you lease a space like the school, they didn't have time to complete the meeting, which was the election.
Right.
So now we had Jesse Law that came in, and he did what he did with the state's assistance on saying we're going to get a quorum and do the things that they did, which again was not proper procedure.
And you believe
That's
that this is an example of, you know, unscrupulous behavior, so people should not believe in them?
I don't want to say that word, John. I want to have faith in everybody. I really do. And that is why right now I've always said it's going to be in a judge's hands. And I have the utmost respect for Betsy. And even if Judge Gonzalez went on Jesse's Law's side of it, I would have done that because, again, we all live in Clark County and we have got to come together going into 2022.
Well, that is the singular thing that I believe.
I'm going to look at the two attorneys that made the case for the plaintiff and the defendant, and I'm going to look at a smart judge that made a decision to better us, because that's what we have to do. And to answer your question about Carrie Buck, I don't know State Senator Carrie Buck that well. I don't. I met her a few months back. She seems to be impressive. I met her at a few luncheons when she was campaigning. I think she's an asset because she knows after campaigning what needs to properly needs to be done to help get Republicans elected. I think Byron Brooks, University of Regent Byron Brooks, I think he's an extremely smart man. He served our country, and he wants to serve Nevada, whether it's in Clark County as the vice chair or whatever. I think we're lucky. Jesse's had experience. Jesse and I happen to be on opposite sides right now, and let's not forget we've got another candidate, which is Dave Crete.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of good people out there that are going to put their names out there just so they can get ridiculed.
I'm just hoping that we could put this all to bed real soon and focus our attention where it really, really needs to be focused. But Tawana, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate your perspective, and more so, I really appreciate everything you do for conservatives, especially here in Nevada.
Thanks. And thank you, John. You too.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Tawana. All right, so then Mr. Jesse Law released a short reply in an email to his followers, and let me see if I could bring that up. Right here, Jesse Law said, very briefly, I wanted to send a quick note to our friends and supporters. Rest assured, we don't run from a fight. We will always stand against injustice, lies, and abuse. Now is no different. I have said from the beginning that we win no matter what, and this is far from over. Flies at a picnic, everybody. Just be patient, and remember, everything happens for a reason, and God is in charge. The path and the victory are always His. The actions are ours, so let's keep up the pressure and the fight. We thank each of you for your messages and calls of support. We win this together. And then in the meantime, he invited people to the Ahern on that Friday night. I think they have a First Friday event. Unfortunately, I was not able to cover it. And then I also, as I was reaching out to some of these people, I got, plenty of respectable responses. Some people didn't respond, which I was a little disappointed. Richard McLean, who I apparently said something offensive because he's not my Facebook friend anymore. But nonetheless, one of the grassroots campers sent in a message anonymously, just letting me know the clown show again deceived the court, which is unsurprising since deception is all they know. We aren't backing down to a bunch of tax hiking never Trumpers. Stand with us. So, another regular person that's going to be joining me is the incomparable, one of the Johnny Brew Show's favorites, the cameraman and the production manager for the Johnny Brew Show, Mr. Rob Kafka.
Hey, John, how are you?
Hey, Rob, how are you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Good. Long time no see. I'm sorry I haven't seen you so much since the school year started.
Back to school's busy for everybody. In advertising, I have to deal with everybody's business slowing down, and it's because you guys are,
Good.
You're busy taking care of the kids.
Well, as always, we always appreciate your help.
God bless you.
Rob is from robslist.org. Is that right? Republican-owned business support?
Robslist.org is for Republican-owned businesses to get listed. We're working on a few other ones. I'll tell you guys more about that later. I'm not here to plug
Awesome,
myself.
Rob. No, and I just wanted to put it out there
yeah.
because the one thing the Johnny Brew Show believes in is supporting Republican businesses. We don't necessarily believe in boycotting. Let's just keep it positive. Let's support the businesses.
Promote each other. And I'll say this. I do want to say this. This stems from when we first met. You had said a speech about how Republicans are shy. We're not loud. We're conservative.
We wake up every day and go to work.
Makes us not. Well, we're busy with work, but we also don't want to make a big fuss about anything.
Right. We want to be left alone.
Yeah, live and let live, and we're not working. We're out enjoying our families and our friends.
Good. All right.
Whereas and that's where this, that site came together. But I want to jump right into it.
Yeah, let's move on.
I'm going to follow TK.
Well, yeah, and what I wanted to say is, you've come on because we've been at some of the same events, whether it's CCRP or Republican Chamber of Commerce or some events on the Strip, whether it's no mask mandates or it's supporting the people of Cuba. And then me and you struck up a friendship, and you love to, do video production and stuff. So you've volunteered to help me out because you knew that, I'm just a patriot who loves conservative values, and you wanted to help me out. Next thing you know, you're realizing that you're stuck in the middle of this big soap opera. And through my observations, I'm believing that you are tending to be a lot more Camp Jesse Law than you are Camp Steven Silberkraus. And just because I wanted to get a person who's seeing the forest for the trees, a person who's new to this, a person who's looking to get involved, what is it that attracts you to one camp over the other? How do you feel about the soap opera that's seemingly never ending? And what would you like to see turn out from all of this?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I was saying, it's going to be hard to follow TK. I have a lot of respect for her. I remember we did a couple shoots with her, and I really have a respect for what I just heard her say was the same thing, was just really my end goal is we need to come together and focus on the goal, not the drama in the house, right? So like you said, I was really excited finally getting started to get involved with things. One of my friends invited me to that first event, and then we got to go film some interviews. I was really excited about the event where we went and did the interviews with the candidates that we almost didn't get into.
Right, and it was almost like we were all getting along, right? We had Jesse and Carrie and Eddie and David all there, right?
They were all there. I was surprised. I'm the new guy, right? I don't know any of these people. You're just like, boom, the rock star that can get the interview with all of them. And, I'm behind the camera like, oh, this is fun. And then July 20th comes, and I get called names. I get kicked out of the property. I couldn't get in. I couldn't get a wristband. 8 days later, I got invited to the 28th event, and it felt warm. It was welcoming. It wasn't hostile or dramatic. Nobody got called names by the guy on the stage. And like, just as the outsider, like as a voter, as a guy that went from a dumb liberal 20-year-old that voted for Obama to where I am today, I felt welcomed by the new party. That's what it comes down to.
How old are you, Rob?
I feel like these people have a lot of the same opinions I do on the national level. I don't know a lot about the local level, but it was a warmer meeting. It wasn't at a school. I haven't been back to a school in years, right? And that apparently, that, I don't know. With all the rabbit holes I've been down, it felt very staged.
All right, well, there you go. You talk about these rabbit holes
versus the warmer, we're at a hotel, we can have a drink.
Well, you're talking about, all these discoveries you're making. Now, again, you've only been involved for what, 9 months? Less than that?
Barely.
All right.
First thing I did was
So then give me your
March or April, something like April. I wanted to go to that church event. That would have been my first meeting. But apparently that got canceled. And then this was my second meeting or my first meeting or not even a meeting because I couldn't get in.
So we're talking 4 or 5 months. Tell people your impressions. What is your impression of the previous CCRP board, whether it's Sajak, Silberkraus, Gonzalez?
Oh, God.
What's your impression of them as a newcomer?
I'll I'll go down the list. So, Sajak looks like a guy that couldn't wait to get out. And he's out, and he finally did it. But he's got a lot of friends, and I feel like he's got a lot of friends and old relationships that he's tied to and has to do. I don't know the guy. I don't know the guy at all. All I know is what I saw in David Orloff's video.
Right.
And it wasn't good. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't welcoming. I don't want to have a beer with that guy.
All right, we got 3 minutes left. Keep going.
Okay, yeah, 3 minutes.
Yep.
Old crowd. I like that McLean got on your show. I don't always agree with you, John, but I have a lot of respect for people that get on and be themselves.
And that's why I feel like he's the only one of them that I kind of like, because we got to know him.
Now you're blocked or whatever.
Yeah, now he's not my Facebook friend.
Right, but that's the thing is like I think that's the biggest thing is conservatives don't live in fear of a lot of these things. We don't live in fear of the Divock. I'll spell it backwards for you. We don't, or we don't cancel events for nonsense. Like we come together. We know that there's a mission that we have to achieve, and we will continuously work for and towards it. Versus
right. So before we get to the other side of the pendulum,
60 days.
Let's talk about say like Mac Miller or Matt Anthony.
Last thing about the old guys.
Go ahead.
I sent my application. I gave him $25. I haven't heard a word.
And then you paid him $25?
I gave him $25.
Huh. All right. So
the whole thing is, I want to come together. I want to. That's why I think we get along so well, and I've said that from the beginning. I'm trying to do my part to help, but it seems like there's a lot of going nowhere.
All right. So as we move the pendulum to the Jesse Law side, on our way, let's stop. What do you think about like Mac Miller and Matt Anthony and even Paul Laramie or that whole contingent?
That's a fun question. I'll say I've met and talked to Jesse a couple times. I like the guy a lot. I've met and talked with a lot of the people on his slate that I really enjoy their conversation, their insight, and all that. Mac Miller is everywhere. That is my new punchline or hashtag, if you will. That guy just shows up everywhere, and I love his energy. I've heard some varying opinions on it, and I don't know a whole lot about politics. Maybe he's running for the wrong things. Maybe he's running with the wrong people.
But you like him, like his energy.
Come again?
You like his energy. All right, let's keep it. We only got 60 seconds.
I like everything I've heard him say, and that's how I usually look at anything. Is I want to hear what the person has to say, not what other people say about them. So, Matt Anthony, I haven't had a bad interaction with him yet. I don't know him that much, but he seems like a great conservative that has the wrong packaging.
Right. And then finally, last but not least, what about like the whole Mike McDonald, Alita Benson, Jessica Hansen, Nevada GOP contingent?
I think because I am such a Trump fan, I fall into some bias category.
And that's very mature of you to recognize.
All of them that you just listed. They seem like good people. They've got the right things. I don't know all the background behind it. And everybody's going to throw their SHIT, right? I'll spell it, make family friendly. With that said, like I was just watching PAA podcast right before we got on this call, and I hear this judge, Gonzalez, is retiring after this. Like, this is her last one. So, I don't know. I
still don't know what to think.
I see an inability to get things done at a 60-day pace.
Yes,
60
everything
days
is 60
we're going to announce something to cancel, and then as a guy that, waited too long to get off the pot and do something.
No, you didn't. You're fine. You're good.
Really
You're here now.
I'm finding it harder to do this and support the party, which should be like a fundraising, championing thing for all the things we believe in, that is very open and easy and streamlined and it's harder than the DMV.
Exactly. All right. Rob, I'm so sorry. We're out of time, but thank you so much for, letting us know your perspective, because I think it's really important. We're always looking for experts. We're always looking for people with their toe in the water. But I think sometimes these people need to see what us regular folk are seeing in these situations. So I really appreciate you coming on and letting us know. And of course, everybody hit up robslist.org. So, moving on, the one thing I need to let you guys know is that we need to wrap this up. Whatever the outcome is, there's got to be some sort of coming together. I'm so sick of this because really we need to be getting our ducks in a row right now. The problem we had in Afghanistan is that they pulled the trigger at the last second and that got 13 people killed. All right? If the Clark County Republicans, whether you're Jesse Law, Carrie Ann Buck, Steve Silber-Krause, or Rob Kafka, all of us have got to start doing it now. We can't wait for the 11th hour to defeat the Democrats. This election is just too important. We need to get every single school board seat filled that is available. We need to get every single legislative seat that we have a chance to filled. We need to get the House of Representatives back to red. All right? Whether it's Tony Lane or Carolina Serrano or Sam Brown in the Senate. Whatever the case may be, we need to unify. We need to pick which candidate in each race is going to be best, and then we got to get them elected. Everything. If we can vote for dog catcher and janitor, we need a Republican dog catcher and janitor. Because those other stupid liberal janitors, they're going to leave the trash out there because there's trash out at another school. And in order to be equitable, we need an equal amount of trash at every school so we can have the same outcome. Guys, I don't care if you're Donald Trump, Mike McDonald, Jesse Law, Carrie Ann, or Katie Williams. We need to get back to conservative values. We need to get the government out of our business, whether it's with taxes or it's with vaccine mandates, whether it's our kids wearing a mask at school or it's having a foreign policy that makes America remain a world power. All right. Thank you so much to TK as well as Rob. I really appreciate you guys coming to join us and giving us some perspective. And I really appreciate you guys for checking out just another episode of The Johnny Brew Show. Please like, please subscribe, and throw us your comments or questions to thejohnnybrewshow@gmail.com. My name is John Brookhagen, and we will get you next time.